Okay, hi everyone, and welcome. This is Kevin Doherty with BuildYourDreamPractice.com, and I decided to shoot a series of short videos for you here to just support you in building your ideal practice as quickly as possible. So, this first video is called The Fast Path versus the Slow Path, and it's going to give you a very clear understanding of how to embrace speed in your business and really identify some of the causes of slow practice growth. Now, unfortunately, I see way too many practice owners on the slow path where it takes them 5 to 10 years of a lot of ups and downs, a lot of stress and uncertainty and financial issues. And we don't want that in business, right? Like that is, in my experience, totally optional, but you have to develop specific skills and a specific mindset to overcome that particular pitfall of things taking way too long. So let's jump in. And let's start by covering in detail what the slow path looks like and what causes it in particular. So, the slow path is based on mindset first and foremost, allowing limiting beliefs to undermine your confidence and clarity and waiting for validation out there, meaning that you're waiting for your circumstances to show you why you should feel good about yourself, why you're worthy, or why you should be confident. And that is a recipe for suffering, for stagnation, as you have probably figured out by now. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we have a mindset that radiates conviction and clarity, and it's unconditional. It's not based on what's happening in your outer world. Believing that money is a problem. Now, unfortunately, I also see this pretty much every day in my work as a coach. So many practice owners are conflicted about money in their business, and they feel like if it wasn't for the money, they would really be allowed to love what they do and have their passion really come to fullest expression. My bias is that if you're a business owner, you want to see money as the lifeblood of your business, and it's not greedy to want to make a lot of it. In fact, you should, because the more you make, the more of an impact you're making, and the more people you're going to be able to help, the more options you're going to have. So, believing that money is a problem is only going to hold you back. If you think that money is the root of all evil, that it's a form of scarcity in life, a form of stress, you really want to investigate those beliefs deeply and liberate yourself from them and cleanse them as much as you can, because it's not serving you to see money in that way. Continually investing in your clinical skills with the belief that this is all it takes to fill your schedule. Once again, a very common way of approaching practice growth, where the practitioner believes if I just keep getting better and better and better at what I do and enhancing my repertoire and adding new gadgets and new ways of doing this, that'll magically lead to all the word of mouth referrals I can handle, and things will just take care of themselves if I am really good clinically. So that's a little bit of a flawed mentality as well. And it's not just your clinical skills that's going to get you to the level of success that you want. Trust me, there's a lot more to it in terms of owning a business that you need to embrace and develop skill-wise in order to be successful. Relying exclusively on and waiting for word of mouth referrals to get your phone ringing. Now, this is what I call the waiting game, where you're not doing much else in terms of marketing. Maybe you devalue marketing, or you think it's either beneath you, or you just don't really get it, maybe. But there's this tendency to think, oh, if I'm good enough at what I do, people will just come beating down my door in droves. And in business, that can be a pretty harsh wake-up call for a lot of us. So we don't just want to rely on word of mouth. There's so many other ways to build your practice, and some ways are much faster than word of mouth. So you definitely want to incorporate other strategies in your marketing. Believing that anyone with a pulse is your ideal client. So having no kind of selectiveness about who you work with, and it's just anyone and everyone, and you're talking to pretty much the entire world in your marketing on your website. That can be a very dangerous way to try to build your practice, because it's really coming from a poverty mindset that I'm going to be kind of desperate and just take anybody who shows up or anybody who calls. You really want to have an aura of authority in what you do and position yourself in a way that suggests, hey, if you get to work with me, you're fortunate, and I don't work with just anybody, and I am selective, and it's rare, it's somewhat unobtainable, and that's a much more powerful way to build your practice. And cutting corners on marketing, having a generic website or marketing materials that just don't stand out, they look cheap, or there's just not much life to them, not much energy being emitted that makes somebody say like, "Oh my gosh, I need to stop whatever I'm doing and work with this person right now." So once again, I've reviewed over the course of the last 10, 11 years, literally hundreds and hundreds of websites for practice owners. 90% plus, unfortunately, are not doing a great job of being unique, of showcasing their unique value and really standing above the noise and connecting with people in a really powerful way. So that's a lot of what marketing is, messaging your work in a unique, compelling way, okay? And then having a website and marketing materials that showcase that value. So please don't cut corners on these things. They're very, very important. All right, so that's a pretty good overview of what the slow path looks like. It's extremely common. If you find yourself on this particular path right now, please know that by and large, it's really not your fault. You just were never taught how to do this, how to build a practice in the right way coming out of school or your training. And that's definitely what I'm here for, is to help you in this way. So let's, oh yeah, and to sum it up, basically, in my experience, about 90% of practitioners are on this slow path. This is why so many are struggling. I see it every day when people apply to work with me, and just hearing the commentary out there on Facebook. It's just really obvious to me that a lot of practice owners are unfortunately caught in this pitfall of they've never learned how to market. They've never learned how to get visibility or get the right systems in place. Now let's contrast that with the fast path. What does that look like? Well, first of all, you choose to be empowered, confident, and prosperity minded without needing the outer world to change at all. Now, this is a big paradigm shift for a lot of us who in our culture are largely taught to kind of leak our power and externalize our self-worth. So we base it around our circumstances or the validation we get from other people. And the most successful business owners and entrepreneurs and healers are the ones who have kind of taken this radical stance and gone inward and said, you know what? I'm going to unconditionally choose to be confident, to be empowered, and to have an abundant mindset, because I just see that that's the best way that I want to live. And I just simply prefer that. I far prefer it over being a victim or believing that money is a problem or being wishy-washy around what I offer people, having to take a really long time to think about things and chew on things. These are all deleterious in business, right? Like, you want to get very purposeful, very clear, make decisions boldly, be very confident in the way that you move forward. Become ultra clear on what your unique gifts are and the exact person who can most benefit from what you offer. So in your marketing, of course we call this your ideal client avatar. It's the person that can most deeply receive what you are uniquely gifted at. And in all of your marketing, you're talking to this one person specifically, and that's the only person you're talking to. So you want to make sure that you do a review of your marketing materials, your website, and you're really clear on that and it's dialed in. Like, if I go to your homepage on your website right now, am I clear on who your ideal client is? Is that just as evident, as overt, as blatant as it could possibly be? We want to make sure that is the case, okay? Follow a client attraction system that revolves around your website. So having a client attraction system is what removes all the uncertainty, the unpredictability, the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride of your practice. Some weeks are full, some weeks are not nearly as full. Some weeks you're doing great, you feel wonderful about your practice, and other weeks you're like, oh my gosh, am I even going to be in business next week? Or maybe it's not that extreme, but there's just too much fluctuation, too much stress and uncertainty. So you need to systematize the way that you go about attracting clients. Now, if you haven't done it already, make sure that you watch my free webinar called Double Your Practice in 90 Days. That really lays out my client attraction system in some depth there and gives you a big picture overview of how to systematize your front-end marketing, the way that you go about attracting the right people to your practice, okay? If you're inside of my Facebook group, you'll see that pinned to the top of the page. There's a link there to register for the webinar. And if you're on my fan page, you should also see that at the top of the page. So you can just click on that, enter your name and email, and you can start watching that webinar pretty quickly. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. This is a big part of what I coach on in depth when I work with clients, is getting this particular system in place. But it's far beyond just word of mouth or referrals. Now, that's one component of it, but there are many things that we do to get front end exposure and visibility. Word of mouth is just one kind of small pillar of that, okay? But it all centers around your website. You're constantly bringing people back to your site. Your site is doing the heavy lifting of selling your services 24/7 on autopilot. Reinvest 5 to 10% of your gross income into advertising. So I'm a huge fan of online advertising. I prefer pay-per-click ads over display ads any day of the week. Facebook ads or Google ads, definitely my favorite ways to pay for fame, pay for some visibility. And yeah, if you want to grow more aggressively, you really want to do some online advertising. It's a mandatory part of the process, in my opinion. A lot of practitioners kind of casually go in there and try a Facebook ad or two and don't have any success, and then walk away with the mentality like, oh, this obviously doesn't work. That's the wrong mindset, and you want to make sure that you're thinking like an entrepreneur and realizing that if these strategies are working for literally like millions of people around the world, or else Google and Facebook wouldn't be multi-billion dollar companies, they can work for you too. It's just a matter of being resilient, getting the right skill set and training in place to get online advertising working really effectively. And investing in business coaching or mentoring. Definitely the most successful practitioners, the ones that move the fastest, are the ones that make a strong commitment to developing their marketing skills and working with coaches and mentors who have gone through this process and can help them in this exact way. It's so much more effective and fun and efficient than trying to do all of this yourself and just kind of taking stabs in the dark around, I'll try a little bit of this, I'll try a little bit of that. That can definitely be more of the same, where if you're not willing to invest in the right guidance, you have to go through a pretty painful trial and error process, right? And you can still get results that way. It's just slower and it's more stressful. So it's nice to have a blueprint in place of somebody who's gone through this and can give you that level of clarity. So that's really what the fast path looks like in my experience. And this can dramatically shortcut your practice growth, where the conventional wisdom says it takes 5 years to be profitable or to fill your schedule. I really have seen some of my clients just blow that completely out of the water, where I've had several people that move to a new town and don't know anybody, and within 2 months, they're already seeing 20 to 30 clients or patients a week. They're already well on their way to filling their schedule, and they're doing it through this process of getting a system in place, doing some online advertising, getting much more aggressive about their marketing than just relying on referrals, okay? All right, so if you want a little bit more help with this, go to buildyourdreampractice.com/apply. And that's really my goal in working with my clients, is to get them on the fast path, to overcome a lot of these pitfalls and cut through all the painful trial and error and get you to a place that really excites you and allows you to tap into your passion for this work, help you kind of get in aligned with why you decided to do this in the first place, right? So if you go to this link, you're going to see a place where you can schedule with one of my practice growth advisors. And then once you fill that out, on the next page, you'll have a short application to fill out. And we do this on an application basis, so we can't work with everybody. We really want to be on the phone working with practitioners who are serious. And this isn't just a hobby. You're doing this full time, and it's something that you have a big vision for. You're thinking 6 to 7 figures, and you're really committed to mastering your marketing and business education, just as you are developing your clinical skill set. So yeah, go to this link, buildyourdreampractice.com/apply. Schedule a free 45-minute strategy call with one of my advisors, and then just fill out the form on the next page, and we'll let you know pretty quickly if you've been accepted or if we just don't think it's the greatest fit. We only want to do this call with people we really believe we can help, okay? Just FYI too, this call is not going to be dedicated to just more, a lot of in-depth coaching per se or tactics. I really save all of that for my actual coaching programs because it actually does people a disservice if we just give them little kind of random snippets of like, yeah, go try this tactic or strategy. Um, I really want everything to be cohesive for you, so you have everything in place. And this call is more about you and your mindset and clarifying your vision and understanding what's blocking you and getting really clear on why you're struggling in the ways that you are and what to do about it, putting together a plan to get you from where you are to where you really want to be in your practice, okay? All right, guys, that's it for now, and gonna shoot a few more videos for you in the near future. Hope this is helpful, and I'll be in touch soon. All the best.